Hey, spring break is over and I'm going back to school again and I'm going to be sleep deprived and busy again. Yay! What's up, it's a culture detective here investigating your favorite movies. And today I'm going to be doing another movie roundup video where I talk about the movies, TV shows, and animes I watched in the last couple of weeks or so. Starting off in March, I watched 20 Days in Mariupol, which is a new documentary coming out of Ukraine detailing the terrifying war that is going on, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And originally I wanted to film a review video for this film, but at the end of the day I did not want to just make a full video on this movie because this movie isn't like the other movies that I talk about. This movie is essentially a series of very traumatizing, very sad footage where people just scream and bleed and suffer, and it's traumatizing. There are scenes that are legitimately hard to watch for me, and I didn't want to dedicate a whole video for it because that would just be too much. But even so, there are definitely moments in the documentary where the music and the narration feels a little bit over dramatic. I kinda wish the documentarian would just let the footage speak for themselves. But overall, this is a documentary that is hard to wipe off my mind, and I'm glad it won the Oscar, 8 out of 10. Then I watched Rear Window for my film class, and yeah, this is like my fourth Alfred Hitchcock film, and you know what? Damn, this might be my favorite. Needless to say, Alfred Hitchcock is the master of suspense, and this film is literally one of the most effective uses of suspense I've ever seen in film. The Technicolor and the set design is on point. I also didn't expect this film to be so chilled and laid back. For the first half, it's actually a really nice and relaxing film, but as the tension and the suspense rise, the film gets really freaking good. And I also really love how this film comments on viewership and voyeurism, very much a call out to the audience itself. It's a really interesting film, and there's so many ways to dissect this film. 10 out of 10. Strong 9 to a 10. Then, also for a class, I watched Lethal Weapon. Damn, I didn't expect this film to be this entertaining and fun. It's also kind of violent and cynical, which makes this movie so much more interesting. I think Danny Glover and Mel Gibson had a lot of chemistry in this movie, and I can definitely spot some Hong Kong action influences here and there. And these influences actually helped the film a lot, because this film is made in 1987, almost together alongside with classics like John Woo action films. So seeing this action film is pretty cool and amazing. Yeah. Then I watched the short film Anywhere the Wind Blows by my Hong Konger friend who's studying in USC, John L. And yeah, it's good. It's a rewatch, obviously, but it's good. We watched it in some kind of event at school, and it's awesome. Yeah. Next up, I watched Io Capitano, which is the Italian submission for Best International Film at the Oscars, and also nominated. And I already reviewed this one, so feel free to check out my other review video. But yeah, I think the story was interesting, but there's just too much story in one film. I kind of wish it's a limited series. 7 out of 10. Immediately the day after, I watched The Teacher's Lounge, or the much better German name Das leere Zimmer. This is a cool little stressful movie. It doesn't say anything profound or insightful, but it's just stressful. And you know what? There's something very enjoyable about watching something really stressful happening. Chaos, cataclysm. It's enjoyable, I guess. 7 out of 10. Then finally, painfully, I finished watching the limited series Expats, directed by Lulu Wang. And just like I've mentioned in the full review, I think the characters are really forgettable and one-dimensional. The pacing of the story moves like a snail and not in a artsy, enchanting way, just very slow pacing without any rhyme or reason. And another thing is the representation of Hong Kong in this series is so out of touch because the story is told from the perspective of a bunch of rich, spoiled characters, and I just felt nothing from it. In fact, it felt kind of weird seeing Hong Kong from this kind of perspective. 5 out of 10. Anyways, a few days later, me and my friend Jonathan and his friend came to my place to test out my Blu-rays, and oh my god, they all worked. It's so beautiful. The Criterion, oh my god, it worked, oh my god. So to celebrate that, we had a movie night where I recommended both of them PTU by Johnny To. It's the second time I watched the film, and you know what? I still freaking love it. I really appreciate the slowness of the film. I really like that it's a deconstruction of the classic 90s cops versus criminals genre film, and the cinematography still slaps extremely hard. 9 out of 10. Then I watched The Last Temptation of Christ by Martin Scorsese. I watched it for a project for a religion class, and it's kind of weird seeing Scorsese doing a religious film because usually he does New York character study films or gangster films, but I really love how this film embraces the supernatural and embraces its spirituality. The depiction of Jesus is controversial, but I love seeing this side of him. It's almost a little postmodernist, and the ending is fantastic and cathartic. 8 out of 10. Then I watched My Lucky Stars. Yeah, a bulk of the film is just a bunch of dudes messing around. There are also a lot of misogynistic jokes that went on for way too long. That's definitely extremely outdated. The final act, however, is awesome, and Sammo Hung still remains as my favorite action star from Hong Kong. 6 out of 10. So, in order to put some filler entries for Letterboxd so that the end of Evangelion would be my 1000th vlogged film, I watched a couple short films, the first of which is The Strange Thing About the Johnsons by Ari Aster. I already know of this short film many years ago, but I didn't watch the full thing until recently, and oh my god, I wish my thesis film could be this good. This film is so fucked up and so embarrassing and so sad, it's actually brilliant, and Ari Aster is just mastermind, kind of. Yeah, mastermind of traumatizing me. 8 out of 10. Then I watched A Short Story by Bigan. This is an artsy short film with excellent cinematography and sense of atmosphere, as expected. However, the sound design is kind of distracting. Sometimes it makes it feel like a pizza commercial, but it's still a really good short film. 8 out of 10. Then I finally finished rewatching the entirety of Neon Genesis Evangelion. Now, there's a lot to say and there's a lot to unfold and analyze, so you can check out my full review on Letterboxd once I finish writing that. But let me just say that I enjoyed it a lot more the second time around, because this time I didn't have as high of an expectation, and also I didn't see it as a story, but more of an artistic statement. 9 out of 10. And finally yesterday, I watched the end of Evangelion on a big screen. And oh my god, I am completely shattered, ripped to pieces, crushed, flipped from inside out. This film is a religious experience that will traumatize you and scar you. And if you haven't seen it, be sure to buy a movie ticket for March 20th, this Wednesday, if you live in North America. Maybe don't have insanely high hopes, because that's usually the case for me. If you go into a film with extremely high expectations, it would disappoint you. But still know that it's an absolutely insane roller coaster ride, and some of the imagery and editing and sound design and music is just absolutely horrifying and apocalyptic. And it's crazy that this is the same Evangelion in the beginning of the series, when it seemed kind of chill and simple. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Probably one of my favorite films now, and probably my favorite animated film of all times at this point. So, have you watched these movies and animes? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.